Have you ever had a premonition of a specific event that happened? What would you do if you saw an illuminated light hovering above a forlorn stretch of highway? Are humans being tracked by an unknown alien species? Today, we test the believability of the alien abduction of Tim Cullen.
Welcome to Believing the Bizarre,
Where we dive into the unknown and the unusual
and tell you whether or not we find it believable.
That is right. We are back in the alien tracks.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Does this take place Texas?
No.
I have no idea where this takes place.
Okay.
Is it Oklahoma?
Nope. You can keep guessing. You have 48 other options.
Arkansas?
No. Are you familiar with this story based on the name?
I think so.
Tim
Are
Cullen?
there two women in the car?
There's.
I have no idea what happens.
Okay.
I thought I did. Maybe I don't know.
Are there
anything.
aliens? Yes, there are aliens. That is correct. I'm excited. Now listen, I always feel like we just space out aliens so far. And it's always like, oh, we don't want to do them too close together. And then I realize it's been months.
It's been 3 months.
Have we done anything alien since Alien UFOs airline? Is that the last alien episode we've done? I could be wrong. Have we done an alien episode since airline UFO encounters?
I don't think we have.
We have a f***ing UFO on our logo, and I think it's been like 3 months.
It's like I take the relationship for granted.
When was Battle of LA? That might have been that might have been the Battle of LA.
Oh, that was in January.
Are you sure?
Yes,
Okay,
it was.
Okay, so it's been 2 months. Either way, I'm excited. We're talking about an abduction story. It takes place in Colorado. And it starts in the 70s. It's a wild ride. And I'm glad you're here with us. A lot happens, and it gets a little bit crazier every 10 minutes. And you are going to be gone next week on your trip. When this comes out. This is the home stretch before Charlie's cruise.
Well, when we're recording it, this also comes out. Yes, you're right. The home stretch before my cruise.
Yes. You're like a week away from coffee on balconies, really dark nights out in the middle of the ocean where no one can hear you scream, and massages.
Yeah, it sounds lovely.
Yes, I'm excited for you. I'm 2 weeks away from New Mexico. But with that said, let's jump into this alien story. So just off the top, I want to cite the sources. I use the Denver Post, this fantastic online journal called Journal Online. And
What is it,
Mysterious
.com
Universe.
or .net?
I didn't write that.
They probably had to save that money.
It out. I think it's actually a .org or a definitely not a .gov.
No,
It could be a .com. But either way, that's where it was found.
it's a .uk.
There's very little extracurricular that I found in most of these articles. It's pretty much straightforward. It's pretty much this is the story. So with that said, let's begin. Starts with a premonition.
Okay.
Yes. So Tim was a cement contractor living out in Yuma, Colorado.
No. Oh, I was about to say
Arizona?
Yeah. What?
No. Anyone, and I feel like anyone working in cement or things like that, like they have my respect. Like that is
It makes you think of a Bon Jovi song.
Really?
Jimmy used to work on cement.
That's Living on a Prayer. I see. That's good. I actually just heard a very old Bon Jovi song today at the grocery store. I'm like, oh yeah, he really had pipes back then.
He did.
But I have a lot of respect for that. Like sometimes I know our jobs feel hard, but I feel like if anyone starts talking about working in cement
Or outside. My grandmother was talking to me about her neighbor that's working in outside work now. I was like, oh.
But isn't it raining?
Yeah.
I don't leave my house, so
It's like some snow on the road.
So I feel like, so no spoilers. This is an alien story. You heard the name. I feel like at some point this dude's probably like, oh no, aliens! If they abduct me, I won't be able to go back to work. And second thought, let me grab my sweater. All right, I'm ready. Beam me up. That's not how it goes down, but that's maybe how I would have.
It's in the back of his mind.
Yeah. So let me plant the setting here. The year is 1978, and it's April 2nd. And up until this point, nothing too remarkable.
It's April 2nd?
Yeah.
You sure this isn't like
April 1st?
an April 1st prank?
No, it's on the 2nd.
Okay.
It is on the 2nd. So that makes it A-okay. You trust everything on the 2nd.
See.
And up to this point, he claims nothing too remarkable has happened in his life, and that's by believing the bizarre episode standards. Doesn't mean anything good didn't happen, just nothing noteworthy, worth talking about. So he was sleeping on April 2nd, and I imagine hard because it is concrete cement work, but he woke up terrified. He had a vivid and horrific nightmare. In the nightmare, he had been involved in a terrible car accident along a lonely stretch of highway. And it wasn't the most unusual nightmare, and it's not like he's never had nightmares before, but it was the most realistic nightmare he's ever had, and just how vivid it was unbelievable to him.
Deja vu.
Perhaps. He could remember the tiniest details. He could remember the landscape, the highway, the night sky, literally everything in time as the accident played out. Truly felt like he was there, and it chilled him to the bone. However, he was happy to wake up, look around, and kind of sigh of relief. He was in bed. He was safe. He was in bed. He was fine, but really, really startling dream that stuck with him for a week. Like almost every single day along that week, whether something reminded him of that dream or he was just sitting and thinking, that dream came back to him. He just really couldn't shake it.
He's driving to work and just people honking behind him because he won't go over 4 miles an hour.
Calm down.
I gotta be careful.
This is a forlorn stretch. So fast forward a week later on April 9th, Tim and his friend Ken Ruberg were driving along a highway. It was late, and Tim was behind the wheel. Out of nowhere, Tim was hit by a sudden realization that this stretch of road looked eerily familiar. It only took him a few seconds, but he realized where he was. This stretch of highway was the same exact stretch of road from his nightmare a week before. His hair stood up on his arms and his neck, and a chill went down his spine. Although explaining it to his friend Ken might have seemed a little crazy, he legitimately considered stopping the car right then and there. He started panicking, not knowing, do I stop? Do I not stop? Do I keep going? But while he was being indecisive, while he was thinking about this, it was too late. Before he could make a decision, the car went out of control and rolled over 5 times before finally making a stop.
Oh my God. Like, that was my first thought. It was like, how do you not just stop the car and go, hold up, we gotta wait here until morning?
Yeah, I have to pee for 12 hours.
Yeah, no,
on the side of the road.
Oh my gosh. 5 times?
5 times.
That's like a NASCAR accident.
Also, and I do want to note this, and maybe this is just, how do I want to say this? When a story's told by so many people so many times, little details either get left out or, it doesn't. There was no details that I could see which were like, he hit a pothole. It was rainy. His, tire something that a car person would know that I don't know did that.
Yeah, like the car clicked its foot on the rug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't, there was no rug. There was nothing on the highway.
Yeah.
It literally just something happened and maybe he swerved or maybe he had a jerk reaction. Maybe he was the reason that actually like seeing the dream was a premonition of his own panicking.
Prophecy, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Or Ken said LOL and just pulled the thing.
What would happen if I famous last words?
Ken's a dick.
Knock, knock. But, well, the good thing for Ken is he walked out unscathed. He was fine. He probably, I imagine like him getting out, like brushing off his shoulder a little bit of dust. And he's like, that was wild.
Ken's like, that was a fun time, huh?
Yeah. So he looks down and, Tim's not moving.
No, I wonder why.
He's like, hey, Tim, you all right? No, he didn't say that. He was like, oh no, I got to get my friend out of the car.
Oh no, I killed Tim.
Who would have thought jerking the wheel? This is why you should talk about your dreams more. But anyway, so Tim's hurt severely. He's in the car. His friend, Ken, gets him out. It's his neck. His neck is f***ed up. It's bad. And Ken is able to somehow flag down a car. I'm assuming the destroyed car on the side of the road made someone stop, but I feel like even the 70s, if you see 2 dudes trying to yeah, I know, right?
Hijack is not the right word.
I know. Hitchhike. I put that in your head. I
You
said,
did.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I feel like any decade you see two dudes hitchhiking, you're like, I'm gonna move over to the right side.
Yeah, well, especially when one's crippled and injured.
One's the bent neck lady from Haunted Hill House. But
He's putting his thumb and his neck up.
But nonetheless, they flag someone down, they get in the car, they head to the hospital, and it's discovered that Tim fractured his neck.
Yes.
Now listen, I don't know about you, but neck injuries really, really freak me out. Like,
yeah.
Like, you know, I don't want any part of my body injured, but the neck is like, and I knew that this really hit me hard. We have the same chiropractor.
Yeah.
The first time I went and he was like, all right, let's do your neck. I was like, what do you mean? And I've done marketing for chiropractors. Like, I know what a neck adjustment is, but just the feeling. And I'm such a baby where he's like, all right, you're going to go here and we're just going to go here. I'm only going to go here. It's going to go here. Like, you ready? It's like, no. And just cracks. You're like, okay, that felt good. But like
all the way through your body.
Like, imagine that oh shit feeling of like crack, like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Now there are
well,
I don't want to scare anyone from
here's a lawyer.
chiropractors. There are things that have happened, but strokes. But.
Well, here's the thing. Every movie you've been watching since you've been growing up has trained you. If you break your neck, you're fucking dead.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's why it's scary.
But it's also like such a like your heart. I feel like not that, like I don't have the strongest chest or anything, but I feel like, you know, your heart, you got like stuff around it. You know, you're protecting.
Your rib cage.
Like my neck is just like flailing, trying to keep this head up. You know
it is
what I
very
mean?
vulnerable.
It's very vulnerable. So, in most things involving necks freak me out. Unrelated, very much unrelated. Just found out last week that my boss listens to the podcast. So Alex, if you're listening, what's up? But anyway, so they're at the hospital. Ken's like, I promise I didn't jerk the wheel. And if he wakes up and said I did, he's delirious. And the doctor's like, that's very oddly specific, but okay. So they did surgery on his neck. They gave him a sedative and he was under the knife and he was out. Because most people should probably be out while they're getting neck surgery.
I agree.
But during the neck surgery, Tim had premonition part 2. Just French.
While he was under the knife.
Yeah. So he's back in dream mode. But unlike the car accident, this time he is driving and he stops and he gets out of his car because he's looking up at the sky. And in the sky, he sees a strange light hovering over his car. And he's just looking on in amazement. And he wakes up. Surgery was good. Surgery was a success. He needed to wear a neck brace, but for the most part, good to go.
He was like, wow, it was Starlink.
Yeah, and then Starlink. I haven't seen it yet. Have you? It's been in the falls.
I've not seen
It's been everywhere, but I haven't seen it. But the first thing he did, punched Ken in the face. No, I'm just kidding.
Revenge.
No, Ken actually saved his life. I want to, you know, we are joking. Ken did not pull
Ken
the wheel.
probably didn't do anything.
He probably didn't do anything, but we don't know. So let's move on to the health checkup. So the next month, it's technically May 30th, 1978, Tim and his wife went back to the hospital to have a checkup done on his neck and to see if the brace could be removed. Everything went smoothly. It was healing well. It was coming along nicely. So they're happy. They're in good spirits and they leave the hospital late. It's late at night. They're leaving the hospital and part of their drive home, apparently, is a very lonely stretch of Highway 59, which is described as mostly hayfields and grassland.
Okay. Sounds like Ohio.
Sounds like Ohio. Yeah. Well, I've never been to Colorado, so I can't speak on Colorado. I want to. So around 11 p.m. that evening, the same sudden feeling of familiarity that he felt the month prior hit him again. And this time he was prepared. His eyes darted across his surroundings, trying yet again to make sense of this deja vu moment. And it all came back to him. He's looking around. He's looking, where is this dazzling light? Where is this light that I saw a month before? But then he didn't see anything. Just darkness, just black. So he was like, you know what? Maybe this was just a dream. Maybe that was just a weird coincidence. Maybe this was just a dream. But, of course, it wasn't. He's looking at the dashboard, looking around, and he sees this illuminated object from his dream. Out of nowhere, this object rises up from a low hill. And even though he's looking for it, he's still shocked because
he didn't believe it.
Yeah, it's like that second guessing. It's like he believed it enough to like actively look for it.
Yeah.
But even so, like a car accident happens every day.
It's common.
Yeah.
Well, the first time is a coincidence. The second time, there's some meaning behind it.
Yes. So he's still shocked. You know, you're not, even if you feel like, this is familiar, you know, I might see UFO, I think there's still part of you that's just like, no way. But he looks up, there's this floating illuminated object, and him and his wife stop, get out, and they're staring at it, and they're just shocked. Here is a quote from Tim. It went out a ways, alongside, and as I brought the car down to a stop, it came back towards us a bit. I backed the car up, and the UFO went out to the west of us. It came under the power and telephone lines and hovered over a pasture. It was about 100 foot long and 20 foot wide and about 10 foot high. It didn't make any noise. There were 2 diffused lights that shone at the back of the craft. One a light yellow and the other red. We couldn't see very good. We sat there and stared at it for a while. After we looked at the 2 lights for a few minutes, I turned to my wife and told her we might as well go to town.
What?
Now, when I'm thinking about it, when I turned and started driving, I did have an odd feeling, but it didn't register with me. I remember coming back to Yuma, but not looking at the clock. I was kind of shocked by the whole thing. I didn't really think of looking at a clock. Unquote. The reason that he emphasized the clock part is because looking back and thinking back, they were missing some time.
Missing time.
They were missing.
Of course, they're missing
some time.
How can you do all those measurements like in your head?
I can't, dude.
About 100 feet.
There
way,
was like if you stack 10 cows, it was like that high.
About a foot field.
Like if you throw a first down and then he runs for an extra 4 yards, he was like that wide. And about 4 LeBron Jameses sideways. Yeah. That's like how I can't be like this.
I
would have no idea.
I forgot the numbers even said. I'm so stupid.
Okay, I'll read it back to you just so you have it in your head, because we just kind of threw it off. It was about 100 foot long, not yards, feet.
That's pretty big.
100 feet. Yeah, I mean it is 100 feet long and 20 feet wide. And 10 feet high.
So that's like a cigar shape, right? So that's like a cigar because it's way longer than it is.
It's a skinny, yeah. They didn't really say like dome or anything like that.
No, I think it's a cigar.
But it's also a light. Like, I don't know how well they can see it. Like, it's illuminated, but it's not being illuminated. Like, it's its own illumination. It's not they don't have a light shining on it. So, 100 foot long, 20 foot wide, 10 feet high, and it is yellow and red.
Yeah. You're doing like a rave dance.
It's the Washington Commanders, who just got rid of Carson Wentz. So let's move on. So let's move on to the 1980s.
Well, how much time is missing?
He didn't say.
Oh, okay.
It's just from when they left the doctors to getting the car, stopping the UFO, arriving home. Time didn't add up. And it couldn't have been, like, I feel like when you see UFO, 5 minutes might feel like 45 minutes, or reverse, you know, 45 minutes might feel like 5 minutes. It must have been significant enough where it wasn't like, where'd that 8 minutes go? You know, like, it must have been like a couple hours.
Missing time is just it's a scary phenomenon to me, because, like, what did you do?
Right.
And it's always aliens, though. Like, that always happens with alien encounters. Like, if you encounter an alien, there's a good chance you're going to have missing time.
My sister told me a very creepy story. Nothing happened to her at all. It's creepy.
She's missing 5 hours.
No, she had told me, and I think it was when she was in graduate school, which for her was like, she didn't have like bachelor's, graduate, PhD. It was just kind of like go forever and get really smart. And I mean, she went to a PhD, but she told me one time, this was like 6, 7, 8 years ago, where she was sitting on her bed and she was like looking at her phone, and it was like a blackout. And then like, it was like hours later, and she didn't remember falling asleep. She was still sitting where she was sitting. Very trippy. And she lives in the middle of nowhere stuff. So it's a little crazy. And I remember thinking back then, I'm like, abducted. Must have been. But anyways, the 1980s. So what are your thoughts currently about, so there's kind of 2 things at play. There's these premonitions, dreams, and then there's aliens. What are you kind of thinking here?
Well, there is encounter of the 5th kind where aliens can kind of manipulate humans while not being present.
That was the Hillary Porter, right?
Yes, yeah. So this could be a type of that, where they're telling him or implanting these things that need to happen to him.
Yeah. So I know what happens in the story, obviously, because I'm presenting the story to you. And and when I'm writing these questions, like I wrote that in my notes, like, what do you think about this premonition? I try and be as authentic reading it. Like I want to put the questions down I'm having while I'm reading these stories, because I think if I'm having these questions, other people are having these questions, and you're the soundboard, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I know the answer to this based on what Tim thinks, but what you just said is exactly what I was thinking. I'm like, okay, they're kind of giving him these little breadcrumbs to get. I was right there with you. So anyway, back to the story. So this is several years later, 1980, and Tim had another encounter with a very similar craft, in his words, with 2 diffused yellow lights at the exact same spot on Highway 59, which if we ever go to Colorado, we got to check out Highway 59. 59.
Wow. 2 diffused. So instead of red and yellow, it's just 2 yellow.
Yes.
Okay. So
I think the even numbers go this way and the odd numbers go this way.
Yeah, because 71 and 77 in Ohio go up and down.
And then 20 and 90, they go
horizontally.
Hamburger. Yeah. So he had no premonitions or dreams for this one. This was just an unusual, maybe they didn't know. It was like, oh shit, that's Tim. I don't know. Yeah, maybe it's just where they like to hang out. But that's it. He just was driving on Highway 59, looked up, and he saw these
No missing time,
lights.
though.
No missing time.
Okay.
No missing time, just these lights. So there you are. I see you. So almost 15 years later, in 1994, Tim was driving with his wife and their now 3 daughters. Congratulations, Tim, on the children. And they were 40 miles south of Yuma. Now, it is 1994. They could have been listening to Under the Table and Dreaming by Dave Matthews. It was not in any of the notes I read, but there's no way to know.
He could have also had some khaki shorts on, some puka shells. Could have been doing that as well.
I hope he did. But anyways, it's nighttime. It's a long drive. They're driving, the whole family, and they saw a tiny speck of light ahead of them. And as they got closer, they discovered what this light was. The entire family witnessed a fairly dim-lit craft hovering over the road directly in front of them. They claimed that this craft, it had a blue and a white glow to it.
Okay.
Whatever that means. So they stop the car. They're amazed. They're like, oh my God. And honestly, I have no idea what his family's thinking, because his wife saw the first UFO. So I think anytime anyone sees a UFO, there's still shock.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times you have to see aliens where you're like, here we go. Like
old news.
Train or like a shoot. I still get excited about shooting stars.
Yeah.
If I saw a UFO, there's no, but like, what are the kids? They're like, Dad, what's that?
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you about 78.
Was the girls, you said a couple girls?
3
girls in the back. They're like, that's a fairly dim lit UFO, Daddy.
And then I was like, that's blue and white. And then the third one's like, Daddy, did you have a dream about breaking your neck again? Did you have a premonition about buying me a Polly Pocket?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Or a Barbie dream house.
So for 10 minutes, they're just sitting there, glaring, gawking at this UFO, until eventually it dashed off into the night.
Glaring is a very aggressive word there. So like they were glaring at it, just like,
yeah. Well, there are 5 of them, so they probably each had their own different G word of how they were looking at it.
Glaring, gawking, gunking.
I like the word
gandering.
Gandering's good.
Galunking?
Glistening.
Glistening. Wow.
Gleefully looking at. So let's move on to another accident. So this accident was not, you can't blame Ken for this accident.
This is his wife.
And this is 1998. It's not his wife either. So he's still working in this cement world, I'm assuming. Working hard, and he smashed his thumb with a hammer. Accidentally. It wasn't on purpose. Unless he was trying to get out of work.
Yeah, he was like,
oh no! Guess I can't come to work anytime
soon. Damn cement
soon.
Mixers.
Yeah. What are you hammering the cement to make sure it's hard? I don't know. But he thought it was broken, or at the very least dislocated. So he left the job site and he went to Yuma Clinic and he got an x-ray done by Dr. Mark Hubner. So it's fairly simple.
Sounds like human. Mark Human.
Oh, that's the Mars thing, right?
Yeah.
That article where it's like, nice try, aliens. Man.
Mars definitely is not habited.
Yeah.
Inhabited.
So he goes, his thumb smashed. He gets an x-ray done, and the x-ray procedure was simple. There were no issues. But when it came back, it left Dr. Hubner very confused I'm a little concerned. So he had medical documents from when Tim was admitted. So I feel like they normally ask about your previous history, or at least I would assume back then they still ask you about your previous history. So Dr. Hubner is asking him this next question, already kind of knowing Tim's background. But he looked at him carefully and he asked him if he's ever had any surgery done specifically on his arm wrist area. And Tim's like, no, I've had surgery on my neck in the 70s, but no, why are you asking? And it appeared that there was a tiny, unknown piece of metal lodged inside Tim's wrist.
Oh, he's got a chip.
He's been chipped.
He's been chipped like my dog.
Like my cat, too. And you can feel it. I don't know if you can feel it. When I pet my cat, right between the shoulder blades, it's like one piece of rice. I'm like, you're mine. You get lost, they're going to scan you like a banana, and they'll see my name. They're not going to see Gus Meowsington. They're going to see my name.
See Tyler Perry's
He belonged
cat.
to me. But I do love him very much, and he loves me too.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was chipped. They barcoded him. Maybe. So the images taken at Yuma Medical Clinic clearly showed a small spot on the wrist, a white triangular image lodged in the tissue above the bones. And this is when a very, very scary realization struck Tim. Because he thought back to the dreams, the accidents, and terrifyingly, as we've already touched on, because hindsight, the missed time during his first UFO sighting.
I wonder, did his wife get scanned and looked for a chip as well?
In this story, no, but I think under the circumstances, it would be the fact that she didn't smash her thumb with a hammer.
Well, no, but she could have got an x-ray after this.
She could have. It doesn't say that she did, but I think the circumstances didn't lead her going to a medical clinic. Now, they might have outside the realm of this story, but nothing caused her to go and get x-rays. But based on how Tim behaves for the remainder of this episode, I would not be shocked if she did eventually go and by his encouragement. Unless she was like, I'd rather not know.
I guess.
Yeah.
Well, before we get into this, is there a natural way to explain this?
I can't think of one unless it was lodged in from the car accident and just stuck there. No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I can't. It's like such a weird place too, like the wrist.
Yeah.
It's not like it's the heart or, I feel like what place wouldn't be weird, right?
Wouldn't be weird for a piece of metal to be?
Yeah. If you're a welder, but cement is also like, I don't know how much metal cement.
I'd say 0. Oh, there's rebar, but
I don't know. Like I can't say that
rocks and water.
I can't say that it couldn't happen. And if it was something like, it's small, it's not big. We'll get some of the information here shortly, but it's not large. So there's a chance, I don't know, like maybe in the accident, like metal, like if the car is the 70s, those metal death traps. I don't know.
That's
something
that's wild.
We'll have to consider. But at this point, he's connecting dots. He's like that, the Charlie guy from that TV show where he's the meme. Charlie. Where he's got all the different. Is it Always Sunny?
Sherlock Holmes?
Always Sunny?
Oh. Charlie Day from Southern Philadelphia.
Yeah,
I
he's
think
that
like Sherlock Holmes with his mind palace or whatever.
No,
he's like,
no.
Same concept.
He's using Google Mind Map or whatever that's called. So he's like, no, don't worry. It was the aliens. It was the aliens.
He said it that confidently, I hope.
Like, oh yeah, don't you worry. Well, okay, here's a quote from Tim. Let's see what Tim was really thinking. Quote, I knew then what had happened. I knew it was an alien implant from that first encounter in 1978. There was lost time that night. I have to assume I was abducted. The quote's not over.
Yeah.
But that is like, I have to assume I was abducted. What a good line.
How do you not say that raving, doctor? I have to assume I was abducted.
With a pipe in your hand. Back to the quote. In a short span of time in 1978, it was revealed to me that we are not the only intelligent life in the universe. And it was also proven to me that God is with us always, without a doubt. The events that have happened to me over the past 27 years have had an enormous effect on my life and what I believe. Unquote. So what are your thoughts with all the information we have at this point? Where are you at?
I mean, he was abducted, and then they put a chip in his arm. They smacked his butt and said, "Get in there, Tim." I don't know why they wanted Tim. I don't know why they wanted to chip him. It seems like he's living a pretty, I don't mean to be mean or anything, but pretty mundane life, pretty typical average life.
Tim has a theory for that on why he got chipped.
I'm very curious. Although, who would you want to? You would want to examine the typical, wouldn't you? I don't know.
I think another very interesting fact about it is that there's no scar. You know what I mean? Like there was no marking at any point in time. I guess like when you shower, you know, you obviously like you look and stuff, but like I feel like I don't pay the closest attention where like, you know, if I get a cut or something, I'm not going to think twice about it. So I guess it could have gone under the radar, but even so, imagine it did happen. Like they were able, if this is an alien implant, they were able to put it in him without any marks, right? Like when he gets back, there's no.
Well, I have a little scar from my surgery on my arm.
Or you were abducted.
I went to the hospital at 5 a.m. I'm pretty sure it was the doctors.
Was it a hospital or was it a big alien spaceship that was a holographic hospital?
You know, I thought it was a hospital, but you know what? Could be that one too.
If there's no bill attached, then send me to the spaceship.
Absolutely.
Back to the story. So Tim couldn't remember this actual abduction, but he figured that obviously it must have taken place in the missing time from that day in 1978. And he's like, they must have wiped my memory clean.
Of course. Of course they did.
I will say that this is the late 90s. I don't know what other pop films involved this. That is very shortly after Men in Black came out.
So Will Smith was out there making it look good?
Yeah. Raining black people
with
in New
the
York.
flashy thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying the whole wiping the memory, aliens, Men in Black thing was very, very recently put out there.
But also, missing time's been a thing forever.
For sure. I'm not saying that discredits what he's experienced. I'm just drawing in context that like that was a hit movie. I believe it came out in 95. It might have been 96. I think it was 95. So this is just a couple years after that hit movie where a big part was memory wiping.
Yeah.
Just saying. Because that's his conclusion. Like, hey, I was abducted and I don't remember it because they wiped my memory. It's like, okay, cool.
I mean, you know, Men in Black is a real phenomenon, so.
Yeah, it is. That is true. That is true.
You know, it's like, where's the chicken and the egg? You know, what came first?
If you're Chris Rock, would you rather have a Men in Black come to your door or Will Smith?
Well, you know, it's both, right? So.
Will Smith as a Men in Black?
Yeah.
I'm going to hit you and then I'm going to make you forget
Either way,
I hit
he's
you.
going to get hit.
And he's going to forget about it. Like, wow. Ow. But anyway. So, Tim believes this in his soul. This isn't like a maybe this happened. He's like, no. I was abducted. They put this implant in me. And the doctor didn't do anything about it. He's like, here's your x-ray. You got some shit in you. Here's your bill. Bye. your thumb's all better. Give me a thumbs up, Tim. Yeah. So he's desperate for answers. He wants to figure out what's going on, see what other people think. And 1998, for those of our younger audiences, you couldn't just Google, you know, UFO support groups in Yuma on Reddit or Facebook. You had to use the Dewey Decimal System.
The library?
I don't know. I don't know what he did. He reached out to various UFO communities, whatever that means. I don't. He lit.
He made a paper.
He lit a light on the top of his tower, and he got a horn and went, please insert something here, Charlie.
Okay.
And they're like, one of us.
Yeah. Or he sent a paper airplane.
Like, I have a weird thing in my wrist. Help.
Yeah. Well, I feel like this is going to cut to, like, it could easily cut to, like, a intense horror movie scene where he's cutting his
no, he
wrist.
doesn't do that. There would be a trigger warning if that was.
Well, he's like trying to cut this thing out. I could see that, you know?
No, he just wants answers right now. He just wants answers. So one UFO group put him in touch with a man in California who is called Dr. Roger K. Lair, who apparently was an expert on alleged alien implants. That was his specialty. You got the UFO community, you got specialties, and his was alleged alien implants. In fact, this doctor had allegedly removed several unknown alien implants himself. So he's done this before. This is Tuesday morning for him, not the store, like just the workload. Like he goes, like, oh, you got something alien? It's out now.
Wow.
Yeah. So after months of back and forth, discussions, planning, making sure he could get out there, convenient scheduling and all that. Tim made the trip to Dr. Lair's medical, his name's Lair, I'm just coming to my Lair. He went to Dr. Lair's medical facility in Thousand Oaks, California to get the unknown object removed.
My office is in one of the many oaks.
So,
Thousand Oaks.
good luck finding it. If you find it, then and only then I will remove the alien implant. Good luck, Timothy.
So stupid.
All right, so, okay, what's happened in this episode under the right context is scary, and I know we're having fun. Alien episodes are ones where we let loose a little bit, we kick our feet up, and we have a good time. But I want to add a different angle at this point before we move on.
Okay.
Okay, so I want to put you in this situation. So imagine you're Tim. Okay? So you've seen UFOs a couple times in the last 25 years. You lost time, so you have a very strong belief that you were abducted. And you just recently discovered in the last 6 months, 7 months, that you have this alien implant in your arm, right? Imagine, and you made the plans to get this thing removed, right?
Yeah.
Imagine that drive from Colorado to Thousand Oaks, California. And the reason I say that is because I think there's psychological effects about thinking that your aggressor knows you know. Imagine driving and thinking like, do the aliens know that I know? Do they know I'm planning to get this removed? What would they do to stop me from removing it? So I'm just thinking, like, imagine that drive, and you, like, maybe it's just a glare, the way a glare hits a plane. You see light in the sky. Like, what if you start? And this isn't in the story. This is just me thinking about it. It's kind of like it's like a horror movie where it kind of reminds me of like the Body Doubles, or like the second Insidious, where the sun isn't really the sun, or the second Ring where they're possessed or something. It's like or the movie we just watched, the Ouija, when the girl found out that they knew. That moment where you can pretend to be naive and slide by and kind of just go about your day. But when the villain of the story finds out that you are aware of what's happening, it's kind of like that stop and nothing. I wonder if even for a second he had that, like, do they know? Like, do they know I'm going to try and get this out, and what are they going to do about it?
I bet he did. He must have.
Because that's not like a long drive, but I assume Colorado.
It's long enough.
Yeah, it's got to be at least like 14. I don't know how long it is.
It's over Nevada.
17-hour drive.
Wow.
It's either 17 hours or it's 12 hours and 5 minutes in LA traffic. But
do you think he was listening to Coast?
While he was driving coast?
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't Coast to Coast.
No.
Maybe.
I
mean, why not learn more about it? He was seeking UFO groups, and so maybe none of that happened. That's just me putting my own beliefs. Did what I was trying to get across, did it make sense to you?
Yeah.
That feeling of just like,
it's almost paranoia.
It's that they know I know.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a mafia thing. It's a horror movie thing. It's just like your well-being is now at risk because they know you know more than you should.
Have I played it cool enough?
Yeah.
Where they don't suspect.
Yeah. It's like, what if they can hear, Like, I legitimately think out of, like, getting abducted is scary. Breaking your neck, fracturing your neck is scary. Just this psychological mindset is something that really freaks me out. But anyway, all for naught. So he arrives. He gets to Thousand Oaks. He found the right one. He gets to Dr. Lair's medical facility. This is his 9th alien device removal.
Okay.
His 9th one. So the surgical team, which included Lair and a Dr. John D. Matriciano, managed to remove the device.
Really?
It was a tiny metal shard measuring about 7 millimeters long, which is like half of a blade of grass on a football field, and 4 millimeters wide. So 7 millimeters long and 4 millimeters wide, with an array of long perceptors on one end that were reportedly attached to the nerve endings. They were attached to his nerve endings.
This thing was part of his nervous system.
The entire device was apparently covered in a reddish-brown membrane thought to be for the purpose of preventing the body from rejecting it.
Because it's a foreign body, so in theory, white blood cells would try to destroy it.
So, like, what? Like, I'm just thinking body, like, I don't know a lot about the nervous system.
Okay.
I know it involves digestion, obviously, like certain movements and things like that. But
it's the connections between your brain and your
synapse,
body.
It, like, the fact that they were connected to that.
Yeah.
Like,
so they were reading all those systems.
Like the way that they could have, it was either like, and it makes you wonder, like manipulation or just observation, right? Like,
right.
It was like a
Where's
graph.
The line?
Yeah. Were they just taking in the information and viewing it, or were they somehow making him do certain things?
That makes you question the ethics of aliens, which you cannot do because they aren't the same as us.
That's true. I don't know. It's like, and do they now know that Dr. Huber discovered it? Like, do they know? Like, you know, is it just,
must.
It's like a bunch of TVs, and all of a sudden one goes fuzzy. Like,
oh no, the one from Colorado, it's fuzzy. What happened? Beep beep.
Like, I don't, you know, like,
yeah.
So here's a quote from Dr. Lear. Quote, "The implant has been turned over to digital instruments here in California for a complete analysis. It seems the more we investigate and learn, the more questions we have. Digital Instruments has technology to measure and analyze matter 10 atoms at a time. We're researching both the biological and the meteorological aspects of Tim's implant. Again, the more knowledge gained, the more we need to know. The findings were unclear, and it's never been made public what the results or the analysis uncovered. However, Tim has become very outspoken about abductions and individuals who claim to have alien devices implanted into their bodies." Unquote. And the last part for emphasis is the first 8 people that Dr. Lear had worked with to get the implants out
exploded.
Yeah, our next episode is human combustion, and I got 8 subjects. No, they wanted to remain anonymous. They did not want their friends, family, coworkers.
Yeah.
They didn't want any names tied to that.
But Tim's like, I'm going to slide
like, put it
into
on
this.
wax.
Yeah.
Let the world know my story. Here's a quote from Tim about that. Quote, "This could be a huge medical breakthrough for doctors who want to use biological, metal, or implants of other materials in their patients. I feel that the American public must learn of this situation. I feel that the membrane needs to be analyzed and developed in the public domain as quickly as possible. It's a given that it can hide metal in deep tissue. It did it in my body for 20 years. We owe it to ourselves and our children to do what properly and morally needs to be done. Several prestigious labs have chemically broken down the makeup of the membrane with the proper research funded by large pharmaceutical companies. Umbrella. Human body rejection of such implants could save many lives in the future. I'm coming forward because someone has to put a face to the alien stories and cause more people to come forward. The more people we find with implants, the more evidence we're going to have. We can study things a lot more and get things done, get rid of the stigma around it. The truth needs to come out." Unquote. Nothing has.
No, he is very, very confident.
I give him props for it's not like, we need to figure this out so I can figure out what happened to me. It's
right.
Like, forget aliens. This technology could save humans, help humans. Like,
it could be an advancement in biotechnology.
Yes. Forget iPhones. You don't need to watch YouTube on a small device in your pocket. Instead, let's get these membranes to, help people who need it.
No, I think so even if you get an organ transplant, you still have to take medication to prevent your body from rejecting that organ.
Right.
So with that membrane, in theory, that could be gone.
Mm-hmm.
That
cause your body to be like, hey, you're new to the party here, but we're welcoming.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I see his point. It's a good, valid point.
It is a really good point. And it's, assuming this is true, bummer, nothing's, I don't even know when that quote was. Like, this is 90s.
Yeah.
A long time ago. This is 25 years ago. This is a long time. He's still alive, by the way. But this is long time ago. So here's the final little tidbit, and going back to when I asked you about the premonitions. So this is Tim's opinion on why he was abducted. He thinks he possesses psychic and mystic abilities.
Okay.
So he believes in the premonitions and thinks that's innately in him. So when he's looking at his dreams or these potential prophetic dreams, he thinks that the aliens took interest in him because of these abilities. He thinks there's a chance, and he's not saying guaranteed. There are certain things he's guaranteeing. This isn't one of them. He knows that this is just a theory, but he's thinking that there's a chance, and this could also be maybe why his wife was not implanted,
Right.
if she wasn't. But he's thinking that they wanted to study his mind and his abilities, and the best way for them to continually study him, take him out once, chip him
In his
check the
nervous
reading-
system.
in his nervous system.
Because that would be where that lies, right?
I would assume. I don't know enough about that to. I didn't take anatomy.
I do think I could see that.
It
'Cause
makes
otherwise
the way
he's
you
a
just
normal
said it.
dude.
The way you just said it makes sense. So yes, let's go with that. But yeah, at least it's not like random guy from Colorado. You know, if he does
Yeah.
have these, even though it's only a couple examples, but these are the only ones that we know about. Who knows?
Mhm.
Might have been like, you're gonna spill coffee all over your new tie. And he's like,
Yeah.
I'm not. Don't put that in the story, please. You know, put the part about the thing in my wrist that's metal and
That's interesting.
Ken yanking the wheel.
I'm glad there's another reason for him having this chip besides being a mundane person.
Yeah, it makes it feel less arbitrary and
Yeah.
just, random. It makes it like, okay, this is why they might have been following him or honing in on him. But we'll never know. Nothing happened. We don't know anything else. Tim's still trying to get a story out there. But with that said, that is the abduction of Tim Cullen. Let's move to the discussion. All right, before we get to the discussion, we like to stop the episode and thank our newest patrons who, at the recording of this episode, are Russell, Pernille, The Thing from Hangar 8, Tyra, Drew, Steph, Ian, and literally the letter H. Thank you so much for joining our Patreon. Thank you for supporting the podcast. It means a lot to us. It means a lot to producer Ben, who you might not know about, but in our Patreon, you're about to find out who that is. Charlie, why don't you let them know one thing that you're really excited about that they're going to be able to check out in our Patreon?
I just want to point out one of my favorite things about Patreon really quickly, and that is the quiz. I know I've pitched it before, but I'm going to keep pitching it because I love it, because
It's a
it's so
game.
much fun. It's honestly one of my strengths. And also, it's a challenge to myself. I'm very competitive. I don't know if you know that about me. I'm a very competitive person. That's why I hate bowling. I don't like bowling because I suck at it,
Yeah.
and I get mad when I suck.
Did you like duck pin bowling?
That was more fun.
Okay.
That was more fun.
Bumpers, I see.
Yes. But that's why I like the quiz, because it allows this like friendly challenge between me and Tyler.
I think an interesting thing about the quiz is Charlie and I come from two different backgrounds in horror. I think I'm a horror movie aficionado, where Charlie knows the lores and the stories. Like,
Yeah.
in a different podcast and different time, Charlie was going to be the one to present these stories. Like, Charlie is way more well-read, and I think when it comes to, like, the paranormal and the folklore and things like that. So I think when it comes to quiz, that gives you the opportunity to be like, I've been learning about this shit for years.
Yeah.
Like, go
yeah.
watch Mama and Oculus again, Tyler. Like, I got this background. And it helps
Yeah.
me learn, and
It
it's
does.
a lot of fun.
And sometimes you win too.
Sometimes. The one thing that I really want to highlight, because it's been from the top, is the exclusive shirt. You get it by automatically being in our dedicated tier, only the dedicated tier for 3 months. It's free. It's sent to you. It's super soft. It's that tri-blend, that Bella canvas. It's soft. It has a unique design with a lot going on it. It's got a UFO. It's got like an octopus thing grabbing the UFO with this beam. It's got mountains and trees. It has Fresno night crawlers. It's got monsters in the background. It's our most intricate design, and you can't buy it. Literally, we just want to gift it to you out of our appreciation for being in our dedicated tier. So people have posted about it. People like it. So if you want to know what it looks like, it's floating out there somewhere. But beyond that, we got quizzes, we got segments, we have fun games, we watch movies together, we literally
yeah.
hang out on Google.
A lot of stuff.
A lot of stuff on Patreon going all the way back to 2021. So if you want to listen more, hear more podcast stuff from me and Charlie, it is out there. But with that said, let's get back to the main episode. All right. Alien, abduction, implants.
That's one of the scariest things about alien abductions to me is implants.
Yeah, that's true, because it's,
To me.
yeah, well, you're right. You're right. That's your opinion. I can't say.
That's how I feel about it.
I think for me, there's like the unknown of what happens when you come back. It's like if you don't remember it's kind of like, is it better to know or not know? Like, if you come back
yeah.
and you have an inkling you've been abducted, is it scary that you don't remember? But if you actually are aware and conscious and you remember every detail and the trauma.
I think it'd be better to not know.
Oh, yeah.
Think of Pascagoula. Think of Betty Barney Hill.
Yeah.
Think of Travis Walton.
That dude just pouring bleach on his body from Pascagoula. Like,
yeah. Like, it's probably better to not know.
do you think that the aliens were aware that it was discovered? Or do you think it was just like we don't know the purpose. So like, how close you're
Absolutely, they're aware.
Yeah.
I think 100% they're aware. I think you're right. I think a screen cut off and they're like, oh, that one knows. Or even like it got x-rayed so they know.
Yeah, it got scanned. I don't know, but it's like if somebody found our animal and safely removed it, we wouldn't know, you know what I mean? But it's like, we're not alien.
You would though, because it would stop moving. You know, like, so like.
Does it track them like that?
Yeah.
I thought it was just like a scan. Like, I didn't know it actually
Oh, like
tracked
our
them.
animals?
Yeah.
Mm,
You know what I mean?
that's different. I'm thinking of like a scientist in the wild, right?
Yeah.
So they have, there's a website you can go on right now and you can look up where sharks are.
Oh, it's swimming in the ocean. Stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can always see where they're at. That's public information.
It's crazy.
So I
That
wonder,
shark is violated.
I wonder if there's something like that for aliens, for humans that have tags on them.
It's like, an alien's like, I really want to meet like a guy with red hair who like sometimes has dreams about toasters. And it's like, oh, well, that's Jerry.
Yeah. He's from
Oklahoma.
Cincinnati.
Oh, he moved to Cincinnati. You're right. You're right.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
I forgot. That's my B.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to go check him out, here he is.
Yeah.
Oh,
or
cool.
you're like, oh, I want to go meet that guy that's got the one green eye and the one hazel eye.
Ooh.
He's from France.
Yes. Okay. Here's his address. Go hang out with him and have
You know
some
what we haven't really touched on?
French bread pizza.
Abductions that takes place in like cities.
That's true.
Because I think that's a phenomenon.
Just in not a city, but there was another story that was competing with this one. They were going head to head, and I chose this one obviously. But it was another abduction story. And it doesn't take place in a city, but it takes place around other people.
Yeah,
and I was just like, ooh, but it was this one won, and that story will come out eventually. Teaser right there in like 8 months when we do another UFO story. So I really think the two theories beyond it, because like there's only so much to debate. Like you and I already believe in aliens, so like we're already like rounding third. I feel like, you know what I mean? Like well, did he get abducted? You and I are like, yep. All right, let's move on. Totally happened.
I wish we would have gotten the slight remembrance of the abduction.
But remember, they Will Smithed him.
Yes, they did. Yeah.
So I
make this look good.
Yeah. The two things that really stick with me are, did they know? Would they have tried to intervene? And if they did, what would have happened to his well-being? And two, how could his body have been manipulated by this device? Because that's heart rate, feeling sensations, the way he felt. They could have been muting feelings.
Yeah.
Muscle movement, digestion. I didn't just all of a sudden learn this. I wrote this in my notes. So
Makes sense.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, is it the idea of them just tracking his information just for recording, or were they subtly influencing his life?
Or what if, okay, get this. What if the chip was like done and they knew it was done, so they manipulated him into smashing his finger
to get it out?
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah, because he's like, it was bringing your hammer to work day.
Yeah. It's my pet hammer. It's real good. I don't know. He works in cement. Like what's he hammering?
I don't know. And I don't want to I don't want to say that's silly because I've never worked a second of my life.
I know, right?
Cement.
Like we don't know anything.
We're going to hit up by like 500
tradesmen. They're like, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Everyone needs a hammer for hammer day.
Yeah. Where you bring your hammer to work day. Duh. Leave your house for once, Tyler.
Touch grass.
I'm not trying to brag, but I do have 2 hammers in this house. Just in case me and Claire both have to bring our hammer to work day. I wish I want to interview someone who is a central nervous system expert to be like, all right, just pretend for like 20 minutes that, aliens could intercept your nervous system. What could that do to a body?
I'm very curious.
Because I like the functions, the digestion, heart rate, sensations, muscle movement, but like,
although no one else, the doctor said he saw this thing, right?
Yeah.
Said, bye, thanks for the money.
Right. But the x-ray wouldn't have, I don't think, well, Man, my medical knowledge is getting tested. I don't know if an X-ray would not show you that this thing was attached to the nervous.
I don't think so.
Like it would just be bone and like metal. So
Yeah.
he knew it was there, but he didn't. You know, he's probably like, you should get that checked out
By a doctor.
Yeah.
Wink.
Yeah.
But also the only other people who saw the ship are his wife and kids.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
And,
So there's no other visual evidence here.
right. And he didn't tell anyone about his dreams before they happened. Everything was after the fact. Like the experience happened, and then he's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I dreamed about this a week ago." So
Has the doctor ever shown anyone the chips that he has?
no, he gave it to. It was emphasized. They gave the implant to Digital Instruments.
And no one took a picture?
It was being analyzed.
Okay. All right. I'm just saying.
It would
You
be
can
nice.
analyze-
It would be nice if somebody other than the doctor known for taking out alien implants in Area 51
Was like,
Thousand Oaks.
I promise it's there.
Yeah.
So that's my only.
There are certainly
Yeah. What's the word? Not feedbacks.
drawbacks.
Drawbacks.
Yeah.
Apprehensions.
Yeah. It's affecting your nervous system. If you feel a little nervous, go and believable on this.
I am.
But so this is how we do it for any new listeners out there, Believe in the Bizarre. At the end of the episode, we have a rating scale that goes from believable to viable to skeptical to unbelievable. And we take the episode, consider everything very diligently, and we place it on that scale. And I'm now going to ask Charlie where he places this abduction, potentially alien abduction of Tim Cullen on that scale.
I think I'm gonna go viable.
Go viable?
Yeah. Well, I already believe in aliens, right? So it's hard to convince me that they wouldn't be. You have to try really hard to present me a story with really bad evidence. And this is not bad evidence because I generally believe this person because he wants to help people. So I go viable.
Yeah, I feel like when an alien story happens, it already is like at least skeptical,
Yeah.
but already kind of closer. So it's pretty much viable.
It's hard to go believable for this one because of the things I pointed out already.
I agree because there's I'm with you in viable. It's the prophecies were all said after the fact. He didn't write anything down. He didn't say his friend, tell Ken, I had this weird dream, or tell his wife, or if he did, it wasn't in the story. The only doctor to be involved with the implant, although it is nice to know that another professional acknowledged the existence of something metal.
That is good. Yeah.
Now it sucks that there's no evidence and the person that took it out is like this alien known person with these 8 other people who all remain anonymous. Yeah.
Yeah.
And nothing's happened since the late 90s. So it's like, there are some things where you're like, But, we believe in aliens. It's not the most far-fetched story in terms of the alien experiences. And a real medical professional did acknowledge it in an x-ray. So I'm right there with you. I go viable. So that is our story, our episode on the alien abduction of Tim Cullen.
What a story. That's a fun ride.
It's a good story. It's not like the Devil's Hole where there's like twist and turn and twist and turn. The implant, obviously, and the missing time. It isn't what it is. It's a straightforward story, but I enjoy it. It's been a minute since we've done an alien story. So I hope you enjoyed it. As much as I hope Charlie enjoys his cruise coming up next month.
Yeah.
Everything's pre-recorded. Let me tell you. February, it's a fast month, and it was even faster because we pre-recorded, even though Charlie's going to be gone next week on a cruise and I'm going to be gone the week after in New Mexico. You will not miss a beat. Every Tuesday morning when you wake up, there will be a new Believe in the Bizarre episode waiting for you that we pre-recorded.
Yeah, and we edited also. We did a lot of work in February to make sure you didn't miss anything.
I know. I'll be honest. If we would have missed an episode in like 2021, we might have been like, hey guys, we're taking 2 weeks off in March.
Yeah.
We're going to ride this stretch since we debuted. And I don't want to say going all the way back to a previous podcast, but that it doesn't matter. Since we debuted in July of 2020, we have never missed a single week. Every single week since July of 2020, you've had a new episode. And we can't break that now. Like something big is going to have to happen. And then after that, it's like once you break the streak,
pop the cherry.
We're gonna start taking a lot of breaks all the time. But until then,
just breaks.
Until then, we're just gonna keep this streak up because it's fun And it makes me proud. I'm proud of you, Charlie. I'm proud of us. I'm proud of our families because it's no easy task and it's time consuming. So I appreciate their support and I appreciate your support. And like we were going back, if you do want to support the podcast, just listening means a lot to us. And we see the reviews, we see the DMs. It means a lot. But if you do want to support the podcast and get some bonus content, our Patreon is out there. Tons of bonus content. Check it out. We really think you'll dig it.
If you roll that back a little bit, you said reviews. I do want to say, if you do really like the episode, you like the show, you want to say thank you, all you have to do is leave a review and a 5-star on Apple. That means a whole lot. You can just say like, oh man, that's great.
Or just 5 stars on Spotify. Leave that rating. It means a lot. And 80% of you listen on Spotify. So that's it's easier for y'all over there. But we appreciate it. We appreciate you. As always, I'm Tyler.
And I'm Charlie.
And catch us next week on Believing the Bizarre.
A podcast as bizarre as you are.